Now we'll understand the topic postponement of the law of variable proportion. Now it's not so that this law will not work out, this law will work out, but then there are some reasons for that duration, for particular time period this law will not work out. Now what is that duration, means what are the conditions of that? That is what we are checking out. So what are the possibilities under which this law will postpone it? That is, it will come into existence after the completion of this phase. Now there are two conditions in such case. Now first is when there is improvement in technology used in the process of production so that greater output is achieved with the same input. Now suppose if an entrepreneur or the owner of the business, he improve his technology, that means he use a better technology for what? For improving the process of production, okay, or to get the greater output. Now in that case what will happen? This law will not work out. Why? Because the input is same but the output will be more. Why? Because of the improvement of the technology. This is the first condition. Now second condition is when some substitute of the fixed factor is discovered so that the constraint of fixity of the factor is removed. Now what do you mean by fixity? We have studied that few factors are constant. Now those fixed factor or constant factor is being removed by the substitutes. Now if we have substitutes available for that, that means we have choice. Now if we have choice, then definitely we can work out for the better output. So the law will not work out. Now in these two conditions the law will be postponed for future. Okay, it will work out but after the completion of the phase. Now you all know about this graph very well. The graph shows that when the TP is rising, MP is also rising. Fine. Now this is what? This is my first phase. That means the phase, or you can say stage of increasing return. Okay, that is my first stage. My first stage is what? Stage of increasing return. Now next is when TP rises, that is total product is rising, and when the total product is rising but it is rising at diminishing rate. Now during that phase what happened? My MP, marginal product, decreases. Now this is what? This is my second stage, that is stage of diminishing returns. Fine. Now third stage, that is when my TP is falling. TP is falling, that is total product is falling. Now at this stage MP is negative. Fine. This is my third stage, that is stage of negative returns. Now as I discussed priorly in the graph, now we will go through all three stages. Now which one was the first stage? First stage was stage of increasing returns. Now what that means? It refers to a situation in which additional unit of variable factors add more and more to the total output. That means when we are adding variable factor, one more unit of variable factor, my total output is increasing. Fine. So every addition of variable factor is adding to my output, that means benefiting me. Okay, the first stage starts from the point of origin. Do remember, it will start from the main point, that is the origin point O, and continues till AP is maximum. You know that very well, that at one point of time AP is maximum. So that is till AP is maximum, that is my first stage. Now TP increases at an increasing rate up to point M and increases at a diminishing rate between M and A. The point of M where TP changes its slope is called the point of inflection. Fine. We know, we have studied very well that the point from where the TP changes its slope, okay, that point is called what? Point of inflection. That means in stage 1, when TP changes from increasing to diminishing return, fine, that stage, but AP is still rising. Okay, till AP is rising, that is comes to maximum, that is the inflection point. Okay, now MP rises first, reaches the maximum at point M, and then it starts decreasing. But it is still positive. Fine, you know till 0, that means till the TP is maximum, my MP is positive. Okay, AP increases throughout. We know very well. Till that, AP is increasing. The stage ends when AP reaches the maximum at point A. Now, as soon as AP reaches to the maximum point, stage of increasing returns end. Okay, you can check out the graph for this. Now next stage is what? Stage of diminishing returns. Now it refers to a situation in which each additional unit of a variable factor adds lesser and lesser amount of output. Now I explained you already that, like, after 1 unit, if we are getting 2 unit of output, okay, now after second unit of labor, if I am getting 4 unit of output, after third unit, if I am getting 6 unit of output, okay, suppose after fourth unit, if I am, instead of getting 8 unit of output, I am getting 7 unit of output. Now my TP is again rising, but then it is not rising in the same ratio. So that is what? That is diminishing return. That means slowly and steadily what happens, every unit is decreasing my output. That means the returns which I am getting. So TP goes on increasing but at a diminishing rate and reaches the maximum at point T. Both the MP and AP are diminishing but positive. Okay, but they are positive. This stage ends where MP is 0. We know very well at one point of time MP is 0. That means saturated. Why? Because TP is maximum. Now this stage is the most important stage, as the producer would like to operate in this stage. Why? Because now I know I am going to end up, that means I am going to stop my production at point 0. Okay, that means where my MP is 0. Why? Because no producer wants negative returns. Fine. Now next stage is stage of negative returns. Now it refers to a situation in which each additional unit of the variable factor diminishes the total output. That means now if I'll add one more labor or employ one more labor, what will happen? I will get my output negative. Why? Because my MP is negative. Now in this stage what happens? Total product, that is total product, TP is falling, MP is negative, AP is decreasing. Do remember, but TP and AP, that is total product and average product, will remain positive. Okay, though decreasing, but still it will remain positive. Only MP, that is marginal product, is negative. Now this stage operates if more than L3 labor. You can check out in the graph, if I am employing more than L3 labor, then this stage will work out. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one, that is causes of increasing returns. Now why do we get increasing returns? Fine, this is what we are going to study. So first is what? Fuller utilization of fixed factors. Now in case of fuller utilization of fixed factors, what we need? We need certain minimum labor, okay, for the optimum use of fixed factors. Now what are the fixed factors? Fixed factors means land, machinery, premises, everything. Fine. So what happened at the beginning? In the beginning, what businessman has to do? Businessman has to employ all the fixed factors. Okay, so no doubt fixed factors will be more. Now to start up a business, what he do? Only he employ 1 or 2 labor. Okay, because it is just a beginning. He will start up with a few labor. So when he is starting with a few labor, that means the amount of variable factor is too small. Okay, so what will happen? Therefore fixed factor remains utilized. So what happened with less labor? The resources which are being available as a fixed factor is being completely utilized. Now in case I have 2 labor, if I'll employ 1 or 2 more labor, what will happen? I will be able to use that machinery, that plant more effectively. Fine. So what will happen? Increase in the number of worker will result in what? Better utilization of machinery and even effectively. Fine. So that means what I am doing? I am utilizing fixed factor completely. Now next point for the causes of increasing return is division of labor. Now what that means? Now if I am employing more and more labor, what will happen? I can divide the work among those labor. Now with that division, what will happen? I will be benefited. What kind of benefit I will get? I will get better efficiency, better result. Even I will get specialization of labor. Fine. Why? Because I am dividing the work according to their skill and aptitude. That is their capability. Now next is causes of diminishing returns. Now what that means? That means disturbing the optimum proportion. Now why do I get diminishing return? First reason is I have disturbed the proportion of optimum utilization. That means whatever my fixed factor and variable factor ka ratio was there, now it is disturbed. Why? I have employed more labor compared to my fixed factor. Okay. Now what will happen? There is an optimum combination of fixed factor and variable factor when the fixed factor is fully and efficiently utilized. Now if I employ more worker, okay, what will happen? My optimum factor combination is disturbed. This will lead to what? Fall in the average product and marginal product. Fine. Second is what? Imperfect substitutability of factors of production. Now we know very well up to some stage we can substitute one factor, okay, for another. But there is a limit to it, right? After that we cannot substitute the product. So when the limit is over, what will happen? We will get diminishing returns. Fine. Why? Reason is because we cannot effectively substitute labor for capital. Fine. Now next is causes of negative returns. Now what is the reason why we get negative return? First is overcrowding. Now what that means? Now what I have done, I have keep on employing more and more labors, okay, variable factor with given quantity of fixed factor. Given quantity means fixed factor I cannot increase. That is fixed, that is constant, right? So what I have done, when I will keep on employing more and more, that means what I am doing? I am overcrowding. Okay, so when there is a overcrowd, that means more variable factors, then I will get negative returns. Next is management problem. Now what is that? If there is one too many workers, they may shift responsibility to others. Now you know very well, if I have many people, what happen if 3 are sitting? So if I'll say you do the work, so what they will do? Oh please you carry on. Oh please you carry on. That means what? They are shifting their work. If I ask one, they are just shifting their work to another one. So this is a problem. Fine. So this will result in what? This will leads to decrease in efficiency. Okay. So what will happen? Again I will get negative returns. Now next point is decision to producers. Now we will see that what decision producer takes, that means in which stage he wants to work out. Now under no circumstances any rational producer would work out in stage 3. Okay, you are a producer. Do you want a negative returns to scale? Third stage is a negative returns to scale. Nobody wants a negative returns. So no producer wants to work out in third stage. Why? As the marginal product of the variable factor is negative. Now a rational producer would even not like to work out in stage 1. Why? Because my average product, okay, is rising. Now my average product of the variable factor is increasing throughout the stage. Now if the producer stops operating before the stage 1 ends, okay, suppose the producer gives up, he says the stage 1, why, what do you mean by gives up? See, because my average product is rising, that means my input, that means whatever I am employing is more and return which I am getting, that the profit which I am getting is less. Okay, so what will be the problem? Every producer look for a profit, right? So when, if at all, he will stop working in before the stage ends, that means he has not earned any profit. So that is why it won't be a rational decision. It means that he is not taking full advantage of constantly rising productivity of the variable factor. Okay. Now a rational producer would operate in stage 2, and production within stage depends upon the price of the factors of production. So whatever is the factors of production in stage 2, according to that your price depends. Fine. So that is why producer always decides to work out in stage 2. Why? Because there is a competition where there he will earn profit for his risk. Now at the end, few things which I am speaking throughout the video, that is fixed factor inputs and variable factor inputs. Okay. Now output is a function of fixed factor. Output means the final product is a function of what? Your factor inputs. Factor inputs means whatever is being employed. Okay. That is total output of a firm can be changed only by changing the quantity of factor input. Factor input, that means fixed factor and variable factor which you have employed. If you will change that, that means your output will change. Fine. Now factor input whose quantity does not vary from day to day, like the machinery, the top management, the building, etc. are known as fixed factor or fixed inputs. We have already studied whatever is fixed, like machinery, which we cannot change every day, right? Once we have taken a machinery, we cannot change it. The management, that means the heads who are being decided, it has been decided once. We cannot change every day, right? Now that these things are what? Building. If I have a land, I cannot change it. Location, building, I cannot change it, okay? So these are what? These are fixed factors. Now factor inputs whose quantity may vary, like every day I can change. Today I have 2 laborers, tomorrow I can have 4. Then I can have 5. Then I can again have 3. So what I can do? I can change it. Same way raw material. Raw material, today I have 1 ton, tomorrow I can have 2 ton. Third day I can have again 1.5 ton. So that is what we can change it. Now if any input which I can change it, that is known as variable factor. Fine. Now factor proportion. In between I spoke to you about the proportion. Now proportion of variable and fixed factors. The factor proportion refers to the ratio in which fixed input and variable input are used in the process of production. Now take for example, capital is a fixed input, fine, and labor is what? Variable. Suppose 5 unit of capital and 10 unit of labor are required to produce 100 unit of output, okay, 100 unit of final product. The factor proportion between capital and labor will be what? 5K. K, that is capital, and 10L. 10L is labor. Fine. Now, in case if I change this ratio, suppose I employ more labor, that means I employ suppose 15 labor. Now, what will be my ratio? 5:15. Fine. So 5K, that is 5 capital and 15 labor. So this is what we known as proportion. In between we spoke about the factor proportion. So this is what factor proportion is. Fine. With this we have ended the topic. I hope the things are clear to you all.